Hello, this is Janet Gallen welcoming you to Love Letters Live. Today's guest is an actor you most likely have seen and know. I'm not sure you know the many facets here. So I'm going to go right to you, Vince de Paolo, and you talk about what you do. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you just start and let us know, when did you first decide that you wanted to become an actor?
Well, as I discussed with David Zimmerman, I was in Italy studying as an
Mhm.
adolescent. And one day I skipped school, literally, and in Salerno, Italy, near Naples. And I was in boarding school, and I just went to see a movie. Of course, it was not, of course, it was an Italian subtitle, but it was a 007, 007 type movie
Uh-huh.
with Stuart Granger.
Oh my goodness.
And
Way
all
before,
this.
way before, what's his name?
Well, yeah, it wasn't during the same period. He happened to do a kind of movie. It wasn't a literal 007 movie. It was
Uh,
something like it.
okay.
Same genre, Janet.
Uh-huh.
But there I was at a ripe old age of 16, and all of a sudden I got the bug. I want to be there. I remember saying, Italian, of course, I want
Yeah.
to do that. I like that. I like that feel. I like that bluish color, those
Okay.
that ambiance.
So what did you like best about it? What grabbed you?
Well, you know how young people, whether they're male or female, they look at magazines and they see artists and they see models and they see singers and rock stars. Well, this was, in my case, it was an actor. It was the film.
So You identified with the actor more than the role?
Identify with the whole business, with
Okay.
filmmaking, yeah. And there was also another component to this that I wanted to come back to America. I miss my mom. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
that's really the truth. I really missed her. And I didn't want to stay in boarding school. I had been in Italy about 5.5 years by that time.
Oh, you were in boarding school there for 5.5 years?
Well, not in boarding school, but in Italy.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But at that time, I was in boarding school. And then I started writing to my mother. And next thing you know, I come back on a nice jet. And here, and the rest is history. And I went,
Now, so where was your mother, in New York or Los
no,
Angeles?
no, no, Seattle. Everybody lived in Seattle.
Ah, okay. So what was your next step after? I'm always
Well, I
curious
went,
how people get where they go. Your next step after you decided you wanted to do that.
I enrolled in drama classes in high school,
You did.
junior high and high school. I had finished the eighth grade in Italy, and I was starting the ninth grade. So when I went back to Seattle, I went automatically directly into ninth grade, and I went into drama class, and I never stopped since.
Wow.
So the whole year, all the years of high school, I was doing drama. I was also an athlete. I mean, I played baseball and all that, but I was doing drama and doing plays, and the desire grew and grew, and it
So
reached the.
it was a natural progression then.
It was a natural
Yes.
progression.
Well, what was your first role? I don't
Oh,
mean, well, what was your first movie role? And what was your first role in the plays that you did in high school? Start with that.
well, I quite frankly, I don't remember the place I did it in high school. It was nothing that indelible. It was just a lot of scenes and stuff we did. I may have done something. I don't remember. There were full-fledged plays. But drama classes in high school, they don't do plays necessarily. They just do drama classes and study drama and do some scenes and what have you. But what it reached the crescendo, Janet, when there was someone from the School of Performing Arts came to Seattle to audition for actors, something to that effect. And I auditioned to enroll in college in San Diego. This was right after I graduated, or during the time I was graduating high school, and I was accepted, and I went to San Diego. That's where it really all started, right after high
How
school.
did it start in earnest there?
Well, I went to a school of performing arts, which
Oh, I
was
see what you're saying.
accredited, school of drama. It's like saying,
Right.
Juilliard on the West Coast.
I see. Okay, I was not aware of that. What was your first movie role?
The very first movie role, and now we're jumping to 1974. It was with Lepke, Tony Curtis, a movie called Lepke about the Jewish gangster, and I played another gangster. I was 20. Well, what was I? I was about.
Can we get that on? Can we stream that? Like
yes, as a matter of fact,
because I haven't seen it.
Well, most people. Well, it was 1974. Most people. Most people. You can't.
I was around in 1974.
I'm sure you were. You're a little kid, about 5.
No.
But most people can streamline it on YouTube. Lepke starring Tony Curtis.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to do that this afternoon.
I'm in a few scenes. I have some very, poignant scenes where I test a coat or jacket for opium, and I give one of these signals, and I have a scene with Tony around the table. So it was a first role, and that really sealed it for me. I mean, I wanted to be an actor since I was 16.
Okay, so I'm curious about the roles. Did you like playing that character?
Well, of course. I like doing anything on a movie set. I mean, I had a wonderful director, and there's Tony Curtis, and we grew up with Tony.
I was just curious, like when you're looking for a role, when you're offered things, or you're just looking on your own, do you have a preference, or as you say, anything at all?
No, at this point in my life, not anything at all. No, I mean, in the beginning, you take what you can take,
sure.
Other than anything nefarious or, immoral like porno or something. I wouldn't do that. But you take what you can as long as it's part and parcel of the movie business or TV business, or theatrical business. I mean,
but I picture you, and I shouldn't do that.
No, you have to look at my younger you look at my younger photos. You'll definitely say, well, you should be a matinee idol or a leading man.
I can tell that by looking at you now, but I'm going to look those up also.
Yeah, well, right now I'm an old guy. I'm the father of the good-looking son.
Right? Okay. So my question is, you look like a natural for adventure.
Adventure?
Yeah, adventure roles.
Well, I never heard that one before. I was told I was a Ben Gazzara type, then a De Niro type, then a Pacino type.
Well, that's all. Oh, I picture those as adventure movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In that case, you're right.
Yeah.
No, it's either a cop or a mobster or a priest.
I know. I don't. Yeah, you look like you could do all. By the way, when you
a lawyer or a good lawyer, I can play.
Yes, I can see that. Not Mr. Peepers.
No, not Mr. Peepers.
So my question is that when and I've always been kind of curious about this because I've thought of it myself. When you're playing a part, I'm guessing that it's easier to play a part that kind of reflects your own inner being, that's closer to who you really are.
Well, of course. One would think so. And 99% of the time, that's correct. There are parts and characters that I've played or know about that, notwithstanding the similarities in culture, and background, ethnicity, and what have you, there's still challenges that may arise.
Sure.
Depending on what the character is all about.
What's the farthest you've ever gone from your own self in playing a role?
A handsome man.
No, stop that.
I would say that the farthest I've gone.
I mean, you've got mirrors at your house, right?
You're too kind. I'm embarrassed. No, but thank you anyway. But the bottom line is, I would say something that would be offensive to either the public at large, unless it's a biblical story, which there's nothing to do with public at large, or something that would be offensive to my faith, my religious belief. Or anyone's religious belief.
I'd like to talk about that for a minute because I know you do have strong religious beliefs and you've written a book, right?
Yeah, it's a humble little book that I put together called Living in Foot.
What would be, that's such a good question. What would be offensive to your religious beliefs as a devoted Catholic?
Well, I'm a Christian. I mean, I was
raised not Catholic.
I mean, I was raised a Catholic, but there is a differentiation. But I don't want to go there. But they're Christians too. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
sure.
I have no problem going to a Catholic church if I have to.
Sure.
But that's a theological issue. These are denominational issues. But, well, swearing, cursing God in any way.
Oh, good for you.
And that's about it, really. Or of course, if I'm denying my faith on film, that's different. That's obviously
right. A
make-believe. But, when you look at biblical films, Edward G. Robinson, Charlton Heston, you name them. I mean, some of them, well, not Charlton Heston, but Edward G. Robinson, he played some pretty naughty people in the biblical story.
Yes.
But, that's not really that offensive. Although, like, well, where's your God now? Who is he? He's nothing. He's fake. He's not good. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about modern films that would swear and curse and get very disparaging and defaming God in any way beyond the call, beyond the pale.
Good for you.
I think that's about all I can say about that.
Okay. I once was told, I had expressed some disdain, I guess, at some movie I had seen, and pretty much the entire dialogue was, he's, a-hole this and F that. It was just.
I don't do that.
I know. I'm glad. And it was just ridiculous. It was almost the entire dialogue and a lot of fighting. Somebody said to me that in movie making, at some point, it became easier to do that, to have movies with a lot of action and no real dialogue except for vile dialogue, because they went international and it made translating easier. You didn't have to go on fine points.
That's a very interesting point. I don't know about how mature or real that could be, but or actual that is. Yes. I know I've done dubbing, I've done subtitles myself, and I know that world a little bit. But let me just say this. Anytime, you take even comedians, not only actors or scripts or movies, but comedians, anytime someone is constantly cussing or swearing, using F-bombs or what have you.
I agree.
I mean,
there's nothing there.
They're the morons messiah.
I agree. I mean,
Seinfeld doesn't swear. Bill Cosby didn't swear.
And Bob Hope never did.
Bob Hope never swore. None of them did.
Jerry Lewis, I know, they never did.
Jerry Lewis, whom I studied with his son, by the way, in school performing arts.
Right?
Yeah. I met Jerry too. They don't have to swear. You don't have to be funny.
No, you don't.
But Don Rickles did swear, and he was.
You don't have to swear, and you don't have to demean others to be funny.
Right, exactly. And Red Fox, for example, he swore from the time he got up in the morning till the time he went to bed. It's called, that blue dark comedy, but. And yet he was a fantastic talent. I mean, I met him.
I think Belle Barth was another one. Do you remember her?
Of course.
Foul mouth, but she was funny. By the way, I think what was considered a foul mouth then, we wouldn't even.
But they didn't go that far.
That's right.
Well, Red Fox did. Right. But it's not right when you make an exception because he's Red Fox. I mean, he's just brilliant at what he did. But no, I don't need to. I mean, if there's a word or a line in dialogue, it's all about dialogue, right? If there's a dialogue that includes the F word once or twice in the whole film for me, and it's just, okay, I can handle that. I'm not trying to be a monk. I'm not a monk. But by the way, it doesn't take God's name in vain.
Right.
I'm talking about the Judeo-Christian God here, okay?
Right.
And Muslims, friends of mine, they wouldn't do that either. You don't take God's name in vain. You don't want to put an image out there that is part of the decadence of society that we live in right now.
Oh, you sound like such an elegant man. That's
well, I can be mean and I can be foul-mouthed, but not right now.
but you're at your core.
By my core, I try to be.
Tell me, I read that you had a restaurant at one point.
Yes, I had a restaurant.
You cook?
Well, I'm not a cook. I'm not a chef per se, but I can cook some dishes. Yeah.
Okay, so
I wasn't the chef in my restaurant. My partner.
What prompted you to open a restaurant? Tell me about that.
Yeah. What else do you do when you don't act and sing? You open up a restaurant, right? If you're Greek or Italian, you open up a diner or a restaurant when you're not doing anything else. No, what prompted me is that I had been around restaurateurs, and I still am all my life. My father and mother were sort of in the business at one point.
Oh,
My sister had bought they were not restaurateurs, but I grew up around that world, in that world, kind of, sort of. And I don't know if you're familiar with Sarno's restaurant on Vermont in the Hollywood area. You know Hollywood at all? You know LA at all?
well, I'm from there, so
Right. You know Vermont area, East LA, Vermont, and Los
yeah.
Angeles, that area. Well, there was a famous, I say was because now they actually sold everything out, building everything. They no longer exist. A family very close to me called Sarno's, Sarno, bakery and restaurant. They sang opera there. It was a cafe there.
Oh,
So I sort of hung out there a lot and met people and knew people. It was my home away from home. And when I went through my depression and bankruptcy and everything else, I hit rock bottom. And then by the grace of God, I won some money in a scratch ticket lottery. And I said, it's time to get out of Hollywood. It's time to get away from this world, and go back home with my family and open up a restaurant. And
are you comfortable saying what made you hit rock bottom?
oh no, no problem. I succumbed to a subclinical, as they call it, depression.
Oh, okay.
I suffered the ailments of depression. I don't wish it on
Okay.
anyone. I didn't take any medication. I just bit the bullet, went to my church there in Seattle, milked it for what I could. The pastor was a good friend of mine, went to the classes and, therapy sessions, couldn't sleep, lost 50 pounds.
Wow.
I was one who couldn't sleep. A lot of people sleep too much. I couldn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried and grinded away, and eventually it subsided.
Oh, good.
A year and a half of prayer, no medication. And that was a dark time in my life. So
I'm glad you were able to mention that, because it's always helpful to others to hear somebody's journey.
Oh yes, I've counseled, not as a lay counselor. I counsel maybe. AA. Well, this is sort of AA for depression, depressive.
Good for you. Nice.
So
the restaurant.
Anyway, I had the restaurant for about 4 years, and partner, and we built it from scratch, literally. And we did quite well, and we sold it in 1988.
Where was it?
In Seattle.
Oh, I see. Okay. And I have a question. I'm so curious about it. I think owning a restaurant has got to be one of the most difficult things.
No, it's easy.
Is it really? I had two dinner parties once back to back.
I'm kidding.
2 nights, 8 people each night, and I was ready for an institution. And I started thinking, how do people have a restaurant where they can have 40 or 100 people every single night for dinner?
Well, Janet, that's a very good point. Not everyone, but a lot of people that want to dive into that world of restaurant food business, especially sit-down restaurant with a bar and all that. Oh, it's romantic. You meet people, you have fun, there's music, which we all had. But I was there at 9 a.m. till 12.
Yes, and you have to keep the floors clean and make sure there's toilet paper in the ladies' room, and
that's the
change the light bulbs. What?
That's the least of it. You're buying yourself a job.
Yeah.
Now, if it goes through the roof and you do it financially very well, you can hire a manager, what have you.
Sure.
But restaurant business, 95% of the time fails after 2 years.
I'm not surprised.
But I never failed. I didn't fail. And my partner, I don't want to, say anything bad. He just was tired. He was kind of pooped out.
Mm-hmm.
And when a cook and partner starts to fade, complain, I said, well, I saw the writing on the wall, and I said, well, let's just sell this place.
And that was okay with you at that point?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Sure. Yeah, I wanted to buy it, but I didn't. I said, why?
So that sounds like that was a good decision, though.
Yeah, it was. We made a few bucks, and I came back to LA. Here I am.
So then you got back into acting.
I came back and I got back into show business. And the first thing I did after that was do a video. I formed a company called the Paolo Productions, and my first video was how to speak Italian without saying a word.
Oh,
it's all about Italian hand gestures, which was the first on video and tape that I did. Everyone else did it on print, but this was on tape, and I have a copyright of the Library of Congress. And of course,
can we see that?
Well, I don't know. You probably could be a part of it on YouTube. How to speak
Okay.
Italian without saying a word. Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, then, the rest is history. I just got back involved with people and just went on from there. And it's sort of been a roller coaster since '88 for me. But things finally settled when I married my wife. And I got centered and became,
Nice.
had a base. Started to realize what was really important in life. It's not one's great desire and passion only. It's also a wife, a family, friends, health,
Yes.
doing work and charitable work,
Yes.
serving your God and all that.
All those things we realize with such ease as we get a little bit older.
That's right. And
isn't that right?
it's
What is that? Somebody once said youth is wasted on the young.
I was just going to say that. Bernard Shaw. I believe Bernard Shaw, who was a great
Yes.
playwright, of course.
That's right.
And although an atheist, but he did say that. And
Yes.
at least he's quoted to have said that.
Yes.
It may not be the original one, but he said that.
What is your book? I read a couple of things in it.
Let me just preface everything by saying this. I'm not Hemingway.
That's okay.
Okay, these are excerpts, original excerpts, gems of wisdom, as I call them, spiritual insight.
So like a collection of.
Yeah, they're random. There's no pattern. It's about 170 of them. And I was just compelled. I had started making notes over the years. It took me 7 years to finally say, okay, let me publish it. Well, a Christian organization published it, and it's on Amazon.
Okay,
and,
I'll look at that too.
It's what it is. It's meant to be a humble, sort of insight into God's heart and mind, and trying to accentuate it with a few moments of humor.
Those kind of things I think are very, they're intriguing when you get, blips of wisdom from other people. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It's nice that you can have it in front of you.
It's my wisdom. It's my kind of wisdom, but I believe I was inspired by God. I don't claim to be Socrates or Plato here or Cicero.
Or Hemingway.
Hemingway wasn't a philosopher, but he was a very mixed up person, but a great writer.
Yeah.
But, again, it's just a summation of my spiritual walk. And I thought, let's make it a little bit funny too.
I saw that part. Yes.
Yeah. Gavin MacLeod, the great actor, my dear friend, who David met. And he talked to him. We did a video thing with him.
I did love his work.
Yeah. And he wrote a foreword to it. So thank you for bringing up the book. But, it's been about 1.5 years now. And it didn't go through the roof, but there's been people buying it.
Nice. Okay.
I didn't really sell it sell it. Yes. I didn't write it to make money.
Okay. So I've got some things to look up today for Lepke, your pictures as a young man, and your book. I've got my afternoon cut out for me.
Well, you go on IMDb to find all.
Yes, that's what I do. Yes. I have a question because I am basically about love letters. Are you, and I see that you said right away that you wrote letters to your mother and you missed her.
Oh yes. I'm a good letter writer.
I bet. So do you have those letters? Did your mother keep them or?
Well, I doubt that she kept them. I never was asked that question.
That's okay. If that's
I don't know. I don't think so because I didn't find anything.
But you don't really know. Yes.
No, she passed away, and I was there in the house. And
you didn't see them.
I didn't find any saved letters. I found cards. Went to her for holidays and all that, and I have a couple things from her. I say I'm a saver. Don't ever challenge me saying 20 years ago you didn't know that person. I said, oh yeah. Here's my phone. Here's a phone bill statement of me calling him, and here's his number. 20 years later, and I have it. So those
good for you.
I do say.
But you're touching on a really good point, I think, about letters, because memory does fade, or it can.
Oh, yes.
And there's something about being able to look back at the written
Yes. The
proof
written word.
of how you felt or what.
Yes, the written word is the written word. Is the written
Yes.
word.
Yes.
And,
do you write letters now ever?
there's no one to really write letters to. No, I don't write letters. I mean, unless it's a very special moment for an occasion or something, or I'm asked to do eulogies a lot. Um, so I do come up with something original.
By the way, sometimes a good love letter, I mean, in my experience, having, I've been doing this for like, 14 years or something. And very often,
you're very good at it.
Thank you. Very often, the love letters that you've written to somebody, friend to friend, or sweetheart, or just a whole variety of things, is what is read as the eulogy.
Right. Well, that's true. That's what I did last time. I actually wrote a letter supposedly using the departed as the one who wrote the letter.
Oh.
And writing it to everyone whom she loves here on earth.
What a lovely idea.
Yeah, and I said, oh, it's not original, I don't think. And saying, listen, here I am, and here's what's going on, and don't worry. And I go on and on and on about it. And I give people hope and spiritual inspiration and uplifting. Because truly, truly, I believe this with every fiber of my being, Janet. Notwithstanding whatever one's faith is, or religion, or background, or lack of faith, whether it be atheism, agnosticism, Shintoism, whatever it is, or Christianity or Judaism. I don't believe at all that this is the last stop.
You don't believe what?
I don't believe this is the last stop.
Oh.
This is just a pit stop. I
can get behind that.
I believe that we were created for a purpose and allowed free will, and with a built-in moral compass that we either utilize and apply or do not. And there is a patient God, a divine judge as well. He cannot be perfect if he does not also judge, who's patient and long-suffering and gives us a lot of time to make up for and repent and turn around. And there is a moment of reckoning. One is going to be reckoned with eventually. But I don't believe that you just rot in a grave and that's the end of it. I don't believe that at all. Now, how God, the God I believe in, the Judeo-Christian God, how one lives that kind of life, and you formulate your philosophy of life, and you live by it, and the code, and I think people. One of the gems of wisdom that I try to share with people is that we're born evil, trying to be good. We weren't born good, perfect, and innocent, becoming evil. I think it's the other way around. And when one holds on to that, starts thinking about that, you'll realize what's going on in the world is happening.
Oh my goodness!
People are just evil.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as a force called evil.
Yes. That's clear. That's clear. I mean, how it arises and what it happens to it is a whole other issue. But I've got a question. Has it ever occurred to you, because it's occurring to me, to write letters to yourself, maybe even one a month?
No.
About dear Vincent, I'm just so glad that you bothered to think about such and such, whatever it is.
I've done that. We've done that. We've done that. I did that a long time ago when I was going through that dark passage of depression. It was letters to God. It was poetry. It was.
Do you do that? Was that in your own handwriting?
My own. Well, some of them.
Okay.
A lot of them I tore up because I don't want to go back there. But no, I mean I know where you're going with this. The point is, I'm not one to save. I don't have diaries. I have diaries. Maybe I should have. But I am assuming that you're referring to your whole show about love letters, right? And how important letters are to oneself and to others. Is that what you're?
I feel they are.
Well, yeah, they are. I mean, there are many of us just don't sit down and write things that we go through every day. But I have.
Yes. I mean, I tend to think if you have a positive thought about somebody, you might as well write it down and send it.
Oh, well, that's charming. That's wonderful.
Gratitude taken to the grave doesn't really serve anybody.
All right. You do that by email a lot, or
I know I do both. I mean, I'm a
good for you. Good for you.
But I do, yes. Well, I want to thank you for doing this with me. It's been a pleasure getting to know the man behind the
well,
name.
Thank you for inquiring and being interested. And as they say, I'd rather be interested than interesting.
Good point. Good point.
You're
you're managing to do both, so that's all right, dear. Well, I hope I'll talk to you some other time. And just for now, I want to say thank you. This has been really interesting.
Best to you. God bless you.
You're a dear, complicated, serious human being.
Well,
I like that.
It makes life more interesting.
Yes, it does. All right. Well, I'll just say goodbye, and I'm so glad we did this.
Thank you, Janet. Very much.
Take care. Bye.